I own a small construction company. We do about $6 million worth of work a year. I have about 20 employees. The end of the year is approaching, and this is the time we normally issue yearly bonuses and pay raises. My question is this: how should we be calculating end of the year bonuses and pay raises for our team? Should we factor in the company profit, their performance, company performance, and how long have they been a team member? I'd like to develop a formula for calculating this year in and year out for consistency purposes. Any advice you may have would be greatly appreciated.
Good for you. It's a great question. Well, raises are different than bonuses or profit sharing, okay? Raises are based on performance and based on what it takes to keep that job full. What would I have to pay to hire someone if I didn't have this person here? They're worth at least that and a little more, okay? So if they left, what's the prevailing job market on that position? You follow me? And so raises are based on that plus a little replacement cost plus some, because they're more valuable than somebody coming in off the street that doesn't know your company. And two, raises are based on, their performance, how good they are at their job and that kind of a thing. Now let's set that aside. And I don't do that at the end of the year. I do that on their anniversary. So if they were hired in June, I review them in June. We're having meetings all throughout the year talking about things that need to get better and things that they're doing right. But then in June, we confirm all of those meetings and have an annual review, ask them how they're doing, what we can do better, and tell them what they're doing right. I don't do a bunch of correction in the annual review. I would do correction long before I got to the annual review. But I do give my raises then because it reminds me that I don't go 4 years accidentally without giving somebody a raise just because I didn't pay attention. You did that one time. But we don't do that anymore. So raises are done on an annual basis. Now, so bonuses and profit sharing I would lump into the same thing. And that is not based on performance only. Mm-hmm. We sat down and started doing that monthly, the month following. So like we close up, for instance, February's books, and we see what our profit is for February, and then we apply the formula that you're going to develop to that profit, and we pay that profit sharing out March 15th, 2 weeks after the books are closed for February. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
So we pay it out monthly because if they only get it once a year or once a quarter, they disconnect it from where profits come from. They just see it as like money that just flew in from nowhere that they've got no control over. But monthly, we remind our entire team, profits, we stand on stage in staff meeting and say profits happen when revenues go and everybody says up, and when expenses and everybody says goes down. So we all are self-employed. We all are trying to get revenues up and expenses down. There's more profit, and then we can share that with you. We're all self-employed. So we remind them, and then we tell them what the profit sharing looks like for that month. It's going to be up or down or whatever. And so we do that once a month so that everybody's tied into getting revenues up, expenses down, because that's what lands in my pocket next month. So that frequency and that reminder helps them help us run the business. Because everybody's involved in keeping expenses down that way. Everybody's involved in making sure revenues go up, the customer's happy, and so on. So, now, when we first instituted that, we did it quarterly, and people didn't count it. Before that, we did it once a year at Christmas, and people didn't count it. Now, if you just want to give a Christmas bonus, that's fine. You just give them some money. And there's not a formula for that. You just figure out what you can afford, and you give everybody $100 or everybody $1,000 or whatever you give them, right? And that's just a Christmas bonus, and you're just Santa Claus's helper, right? That's all you're doing. And so, but I'm talking about sharing profits literally. So what we do is we take a percentage, and we might change the percentage, and we don't disclose the percentage of our net profits, and we share it with the team. We dump that number into the formula. Now, when we first started doing this, we had to develop the formula, and we took a person that was a high performer that had been with us 15 years, and we took a person that was a high performer that had been with us a year. And we took one that had been with us 7 years. And we ran the formula based on that and said, this is what they would get. And then it just, how does that feel? Does that feel right? And honestly, we looked at it and we went, no. This person that's been here a year is getting way too much compared to the person that's been here 15 years with us. And we realized that people that have been with us a long time have been helping us carry the water. And we don't have anybody here that's just here because they take up space. If you're just taking up space, you get to leave. So if you're here 15 years, it's because you're a stud, right, or a studette. And so, we don't have 15-year people that aren't excellent, incredible people. So we're happy, and they've been here, all this time, put up with all kinds of crap like I have and you have, and, they've been scratching and clawing with us a long, long time. And so we feel differently about someone 15 years than we do 1 year. Mm-hmm. We're not mad at the 1 year people, but we just feel like we owe that 15-year person more. You may not feel that way, but when we ran the formula out, we figured out that time on the job was more valuable to us. And so we weighted our formula mathematically more to time on the job. The second thing that we did was we wanted part of the formula to be on their attitude. That has turned out to be a waste of time. We said, okay, how's their attitude and their work ethic and so on, their overall feeling about them? Are they a 1, 2, 3, 4, or a 5? A 5 being beyond excellent, a 1 being we're getting ready to fire them, right? Mm-hmm. And but a 3 is you're just doing your job and you're fine. And everybody basically ought to be a 3. Occasionally something's going on and it's been a unusual season and they might jump up to a 4 or a 5 for a couple pay periods and then they drop back down to a 3. But a 3 at Ramsey is an excellent person. Okay? If you're at a 2 or a 1, we're probably talking to you about whether you're going to stay or not. And so what we figured out is we don't want to cut the pay on a 2 or a 1. We want them to straighten up or leave. And so we don't really like that part of the formula, and we have taken that part of the formula that used to be in there out. We don't use it anymore. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
But that's the process that we went through. We thought we want to gauge that and reward them based on just their general attitude, effort, demeanor, so forth, likability, whatever it is. The third thing was the profitability of their area. And I thought that was a really important thing. And again, I was wrong. Meaning, if EntreLeadership is super profitable, that the production team in here on the thing is going to get more in their profit sharing check than the production team in an area that's not profitable or as profitable, because they help create that profit, was my theory. But it turns out that the person doing accounting in EntreLeadership has very little to do with whether there's profit or not. And a good accounting person in EntreLeadership should get as much as a good accounting person over in Financial Peace University, even if it's not as profitable. And by the way, both are very profitable, but that's not the point. But so I thought I was kind of rewarding the team that was winning. That made sense in my mind. But then when we actually ran the formula out and went, that doesn't feel right, because that accountant over there is doing their job. They're doing a great job. Or that personal assistant over there is doing a great job. And it sucks for them that they signed up with the wrong team, that's not as profitable. No, that's not what we want to do. That's not how we want this to work. And so, again, we weighted that much smaller. So I take that back. The attitude thing, the 1 through 5, is still in the formula, but it's weighted very small. Yeah. Most of the weight, it turns out now in our current formula, is time on the job. So across the whole company, if you look at 1,100 team members, the people that are getting our profit sharing, a person that's been here 15 years is going to get a profit sharing check that's much more sizable than a person that's been here 15 months. That's what we end up weighting it on more than anything else. Even though the other two things, when we first started this, we thought that was the cool way to do it, Brad. Now, you can add whatever you want to add. In this, I just made those up. You know, they were not, they're not unique. I didn't even study another company that did it. We just made it up and say, okay, but we do have a math formula that says number of years on the job, multiplied times this, and let's say our pool is I'll just make up a number, is $1 million we're going to distribute, okay? In your case, it might be $40,000 or $10,000 you're going to distribute. I don't care what it is. And then here's what they get as a percentage of that based on this formula. And so the math automatically then creates the payroll. We don't even have to look at it.
Yeah, and that's really what I'm kind of driving towards. If I can develop this formula, it should make it easy, and I want it to be fair to our personnel.
Yep.
But also towards the company as well, right?
But what I'm telling you is, and you're exactly right. That's a perfect way of saying it. When you run the formula, run some samples out and put people's names beside the sample and go, wait a minute, that doesn't feel right. Or that feels exactly right. And so we had to adjust the porridge until it was just right. It was too hot and then it was too cold, right? And so, like, I'm even thinking of the person's name. I'm not going to say it. That was with us at the time. I kept looking and go, she's incredible. She's been here 15 years, and she's only getting this much, this tiny bit more than the person that's been here 7 years. No, that doesn't feel right. And that's up to you to have that feeling, because what's fair to you is all that matters, because you're the freaking owner. You're the one deciding what's fair. And because there's not a set moral standard on this or ethical standard on this. You want to give everybody that qualifies something. Oh, I'll tell you what else we did. We took all leadership out of the formula. None of them get profit sharing, because they all share in the profits other ways in their comp plan, right? Yeah. So the profit sharing is not spent on them. We took all the salespeople that are on commission. You want some more money? Go sell more. They're out of the plan. Now, if they just been here a little while and they're on the base and they hadn't started making commissions yet, we'll put them on it for a little while. But once they start making bank, and some of these salespeople make good money, then they can control their own destiny. But this is for somebody that isn't directly affecting their own income with their actions. And I want to share with that person in marketing. I want to share with that production person. I want to share with the folks in the booth right now. I want to share with people that aren't out there necessarily on a commission of some kind, but yet are helping to create the profits that are here. And that's what I'm looking for. So we carved out certain people, and that left more for the ones that are in it. Oh, and you don't get profit sharing till you've been here a year. That helped too. So number of new people coming into the plan each month, number of old people dropping out of the plan each month. So what's the net number? So we have 32 people more in the plan this month than we did this time last year, or whatever the deal is. And so you just talk that through. And again, we tell the team everything except the numbers, the actual dollar amounts and the percentage of profits. We don't share that. But because we might change it. It might be more later. Right. And so, but yeah, you're onto something, Brad, when you say I want a formula that's automatic, but you need to run the case studies out in the formula, and you and a couple of your leaders that are privy to the numbers look at it and go, how does that feel? We're looking at Bob over here. We're looking at George over here. We're looking at Laura over here. And does that feel right that they're getting that much versus the other one based on how we want our company to place our values? And, that's the whole process. So very, very well done, sir. Proud of you, man. $6 million construction company in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Whoop, whoop. There we go, baby.